Elite Facts presents
7 shocking ghost sightings revealed.
7.
Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Let's be honest, old sanatoriums are pretty terrifying enough when you think back to all the methods of treating patients from years and years ago. When taking that into consideration, you have to think at least one old sanatorium is going to have a ghost lurking in it. Well, enter Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a sanatorium that operated during the era where there was no cure for tuberculosis. Way before a cure was discovered, the only way that was known how was fresh air and plenty of sunshine. Patients spent their time in the solarium porches, but it wasn't all just lounging and soaking up the sun. No, instead Waverly Hills was overcrowded, understaffed, and had unethical forms of treatment, along with the whole, coughing up blood thing. The patients were miserable. Waverly Hills was also home to many other unprincipled methods to treat patients. So dangerous, in fact, that when someone was admitted to this facility, they were only given a 5% chance of surviving. It's reported that as many as 8,000 dead patients were haphazardly discarded down the notorious body chute and then secreted out of the building using an underground tunnel. The method of disposing of dead bodies was kept confidential as to not alarm the other patients. Thankfully, antibiotics were discovered and tuberculosis could then be successfully treated. Soon after this discovery was made, Waverly Hills was closed down. However, many still believe that the ghosts of former patients still reside in the long-dormant hospital, unable to find peace. Perhaps the most famous of these ghosts is a former nurse named Mary Lee, who unfortunately contracted the deadly disease. It's been said that her body was found hanging from a light in room 502. Young and unmarried, they say she took her own life when she learned she was pregnant from one of the doctors. This photograph was taken in the dark corridors of Waverly Hills and is believed to be Mary Lee, captured on camera as she roams the hospital, moaning in pain for all eternity.
6.
The ghost of Freddie Jackson. This story is quite possibly one of the most famous stories of a paranormal entity being captured in a photograph. This photo was taken way back in 1919. Although it was taken nearly 100 years ago, the photo only came to the public's attention in 1975, when it was first published by retired Royal Air Force Air Marshal Sir Victor Goddard. The photograph is a group portrait of Goddard's squadron, which saw action in World War I as part of the Royal Navy at the HMS Daedalus training facility. In the photo, you can see the face of another man peeking out from behind the head of another pilot. This extra ghostly face appears behind the airman positioned on the top row, fourth from the left. You could say that this was maybe a mishap with how the photo was produced due to the old methods of chemical photography. However, this face just looks so natural. It's still possible that it was a chemical mishap. However, we're inclined to believe otherwise. Why? Well, when members of the squadron reportedly first saw the photograph, they instantly recognized the face as belonging to a squadron air mechanic named Freddie Jackson. Freddie had been tragically killed just 2 days prior to the photo being taken, when he accidentally walked into an airplane propeller. In fact, the photograph was snapped on the occasion of Freddie's funeral. Many believe that young Freddie, just not ready to accept his death, decided to show up and join his friends for the group photo. Skeptics dismiss the photo as a simple case of double exposure. However, the disembodied face is not wearing a military cap, unlike the other airmen. Photography experts can find no evidence of tampering. Maybe it is just the spirit of Freddie Jackson having wanted to see his squadron one final time.
5.
St. Mary's Guildhall Monk. Next up on this list, we have St. Mary's Guildhall in Coventry, England. This building was built around 1340 and was originally used as the headquarters of the Merchants Guild of St. Mary. Although it was used as a headquarters for many years, it was then later used by Elizabeth I to imprison Mary, Queen of Scots. Even later, around the late 1800s, the building was used as an administration building for the city. Today, this medieval guild hall is a restaurant and meeting hall used for weddings, meetings, and other various functions. On January 22, 1985, a big event was held at the Guildhall. The Coventry Freeman organization decided that this location was the best place for housing a massive dinner party. Everyone present had bowed their heads in prayer, and at this point, a photographer had chosen to snap a photo of the solemn moment. When the photo was developed, a mysterious, enormous figure wearing a monk's frock could be seen in a corner, but no one remembered him being present at the party. Everyone present for this photo had their head bowed. Everyone except for this towering, paranormal, cowled being. Lord Mayor Walter Brandish, who was present at the dinner, insists that there was no one present who was dressed like a monk from another era. He, along with everyone else present, was unable to explain the presence of the mystery man in the photo. 4. The Specter of Newby Church. The Specter of Newby Church, also known simply as the Newby Monk, refers to a disturbing figure caught on a photograph taken inside the Church of Christ the Consoler, which is on the grounds of Newby Hall in North Yorkshire, England. The photo was taken in 1963 by Reverend K.F. Lord, who states that he was simply photographing the altar and that there was no one else there when the image was taken. In this photo, the entity resembles a large person wearing what looks to be a 16th century monk's cloak with a white shroud over their face, such as was customary at the time to hide leprosy or a deformity. When looking at the size of the altar seen in the image and comparing it to the average height of an adult male, Reverend Lord estimates the figure to have been nearly 9 feet tall. Though Newby Hall was built in 1870, there had never been any reported claims of paranormal activity. Regardless, this eerie figure is by far one of the creepiest ghostly images ever captured. Over the years, many have speculated against its authenticity. However, photographic experts have determined that the image is not the result of double exposure or negative tampering. It remains a tantalizing piece of evidence.
3.
The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Yet again, we return to the United Kingdom for another one of their ghost sightings. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall in Norfolk, England is possibly the most famous ghost ever caught on camera. At this point, however, any paranormal entity caught on camera is famous. This photo features the appearance of what looks to be a wraith-like figure on the staircase inside Raynham Hall in 1936. It remains one of the few ghostly images that actually has widespread belief in its authenticity. The ghost of Raynham Hall has been given the name the Brown Lady due to her appearance, as it looks like she's wearing a brown brocade dress. She is believed to be Lady Dorothy Walpole, wife to Charles, 2nd Viscount Townshend, in the early 1700s. Raynham Hall is the family seat, even today, of the Townshend family. Rumors are that Lady Walpole had an affair with Lord Wharton and was discovered by Charles. It's been said that he locked his wife away in an area of the home where she remained until her eventual passing. Soon after, sightings of her ghost began to be reported. One sighting involved a man named Major Loftus, who was visiting Raynham Hall in 1849. He was retiring to his bedchambers for the night when he observed a woman in a brown brocade dress on the staircase. As he began to approach her, she disappeared into thin air. Determined to confront the spirit, he went to the same spot the following night, and there she appeared again. This time, he was able to get a closer look at the entity so he could see her face. He was horrified when he gazed into 2 vacant black eye sockets.
2.
Combermere Abbey Ghost. Yes, yet another ghostly apparition hailing from Old Blighty, the UK. This time we have one relating to Field Marshal Sir Stapleton Cotton, Viscount Combermere, who was also referred to as Lord Combermere. Lord Combermere was a distinguished British cavalry commander in the 1800s and was the governor of Barbados. The abbey that bears his name is located in Cheshire, England, and was founded by Benedictine monks in 1133. In 1540, King Henry VIII evicted the monks, and the abbey became the family seat of Sir George Cotton, Vice-Chamberlain to Prince Edward, son of Henry VIII. Sir George's descendant, Lord Combermere, tragically died in 1891. He died after being accidentally hit by a horse-drawn carriage. On the day of his funeral, a man named Sybil Corbett was taking photographs of the abbey. Corbett captured a famous photo believed to be the ghost of Lord Combermere himself, who can just barely be seen chilling in his chair. He literally is resting by the looks of the photo. His appearance is faint, as you can just see his head, collar, and right arm are certainly distinct. In those days, a photographic exposure easily took an hour, and some thought that during that time a servant must have come into the room and sat in the chair, creating the transparent image as a double exposure. However, this theory was rebutted as all members of the household were seen attending their lord's funeral, more than 4 miles away. Today, the Combermere Abbey is a hotel and tourist attraction.
1.
The Grey Lady of Hampton Court. And last but certainly not least, we have a more recent ghost sighting. In 2015, 2 schoolgirls were visiting Hampton Court in London. Of course, the UK, where else? One of the girls, Holly, took a picture of her cousin, Brooke, as they toured the King's apartments. The girls believed that they were alone in the room. However, when they viewed the photo, it was apparent they were not. The photo showed, to the right of Brooke, the ghostly image of the Grey Lady standing over her. The Grey Lady is often reported as haunting the Hampton Court. However, there have been some questions of just who she was. This is up for debate, and we obviously don't have a clear answer for you. However, some say she was Catherine Howard, the 5th wife of King Henry VIII, but most agree she is the ghost of Sybil Penn, who was born at Hampton Court in 1537 and became a royal nurse to King Edward VI. In 1562, Penn looked after Elizabeth I at Hampton Court when the Queen fell ill from smallpox. It was said that she devoted herself so completely to her ill monarch that she ended up sacrificing her own life as she ended up catching the disease herself and passing away. Penn was buried at the nearby Church of St. Mary's, and when it was demolished in 1829 for rebuilding, it is said that her spirit became roused and has reportedly been seen at Hampton Court ever since. Did we leave any out? Let us know in the comments section below. Please make sure to subscribe and tap the bell button to get notifications about our latest videos. And thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.